and the fight starts downstairs because one of the goons identifies the players as somebody they have seen before, so the fight breaks out there.
Oh.
Um, they deal with those pretty quickly, but there's still a bunch of people outside, at least as far as the rogue is concerned. So I tell the barbarian to shake the cleric awake, uh, which they do, and which was a stupid idea because they didn't tie them up. And I said, well, I thought the barbarian wouldn't be that retarded. Anyway, this guy starts fighting us. Um, it's ridiculous because they are overpowered. They were like level 12 or something. Uh,
Lol.
yeah. So I step over to the trader who's like clutching this fucking bundle of like cloth in a corner of the room. I take it from his hands, unwrap the sword, and then I stab the cleric. Because the sword is supposed to be like, oh, it's a cleric killer. That's why the clerics are looking for it because they don't want to get like,
They don't want to get tickled.
yes. And so I stab him from the shoulder. And like he turns around and he casts fucking blight on me at like level
You're not a
6 or
plant.
something. He does that, and then the spell fizzles out. So as it turns out, this sword doesn't kill clerics, it just severs their connection to their deity.
Their connection to their McDonald's discount card.
Yeah, and so this guy just surrenders. He's just like, traumatized. Because he can't do anything, he lost his power, his deity doesn't talk to them anymore. And then the barbarian starts to actually interrogate them. They tie them up and everything and start asking questions, but the guy is just, he's unresponsive. So what I do is, hey, we're all pretty injured. We don't have any healing spells because I've already used up the appropriate slots for that.
Did I just
And we
death
still
warp?
have to deal. Yes. And I said, hey, we have to deal with those, but I do have those level 3 spell slots, might as well just try this neat little trick. And so I take the corpses of the Kenku and I start raising them as zombies and just sending them outside. And then Barbarian completely fumbles intimidation roll, and I say, "Hey DM, can I use my ability to raise dead as an intimidation tactic?" And he says, "Yes." And so I roll my intimidation, but with casting modifier as a modifier. I just raise this like mangled corpse of a Kenku
This is how
guy.
the game is
Hey,
meant to be run, by the way.
what do you mean?
This is how 5... Well, 5 is supposed to be more liberal, and within that liberalism is if you do something differently, you use different modifiers and stuff.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people tend to forget that element.
So I raise this stupid bird, and I tell him, "I don't need you to be alive to tell me what you know."
For you to get me
he
when I
just,
want you. What you
yeah,
say?
and he just spills his guts about it.
No, that you
They are
only
unrelated
meant-
to. They are not related to the villain. Um, they are a separate group of criminals who employ a lot of clerics in their ranks. It's basically, hey, we can make a religion out of this kind of deal. And that's why they wanted a sword, so they could exert the power on other groups that actually do use clerics normally. Yeah, I now have a apparently semi-sapient sword that only recognizes me.
Hi, Como.
Well, yeah, in a sense that the rest of the party was neutral or good, and this is a sword that is explicitly an evil sword. And when the DM described people trying to use it, it was basically, you know how you try to push like two magnets together?
Mm-hmm.
This is you trying to hold it. Like you can hold it, but it doesn't want to be held.
Mean.
Except for Argus. And the
Thanks.
funniest thing is like, well, all of you try one by one to try and utilize the sword, but it doesn't seem to be want to do it until you get to Argus. And I just sent that picture. It's like, I don't trust like that because I don't trust a weapon that is like, oh yeah, I like you.
Argus did not want to what you say?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
So then we got to that. Ugh, that was weird. A couple people dropped out because of real life issues and such. Um, which was unfortunate because a couple of them were actually good. And we were left with with three people actually, two of whom had ADHD and couldn't focus properly, and one person who just refused to learn things. Like straight up, at level 7, they didn't know their own class features.
Criminal!
I know.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
Yeah, so the DM says, I think I'm just gonna call off the session, not the session, the campaign, after after we deal with this current, like, arc boss, I guess. So we track down the wannabe assassin who tried to kill our hub, like NPC, and I cast, I believe it was scrying. Yeah, I told the guy who owns
Give me
this
a moment.
little restaurant. Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm back.
Right. So the hub NPC, who is like a mafiosi, right, who runs a restaurant as a front. He recently had an assassination attempt at him, but he survived miraculously. As it turns out later, the assassin just let them go. So the assassin was sent over to kill him, but decided to let him go because they weren't actually happy with the big bad evil guy of the arc. They wanted to get revenge on him, etc., etc. But before that happened, and down, I know the ritual. I need the components and such and whatever. I don't have the money for it right now. And he said, you know what? I'll foot the bill. So he bought that little mirror for me and a scroll of level 5. And I cast the scrying. And the DM says, they need to roll a save. And I'm saying, yes, I think it's a wisdom save. It's like, well, they fail it. I'm like, good. And so the little sensor appears, and I look through it, and the tiefling assassin is standing right there looking at the sensor and says, I was waiting for you. I can't talk to them, but they basically say, I know who you are. I know where you're looking for me. It's fine. I let your guy go. I saw him go cast that little thing, run away into the back row and cast the illness. I would have killed him, but I didn't. Because I need your help. And so they say they got disillusioned with the guy's ideals, and they don't want to be turned into this, like, mind-washed, brainwashed drone. So they offered their help. They were actually trying to develop an antidote for this brainwashing, like, tree sap, and they needed help. So we went to their little cottage in the mountains, and they told us basically a story that there are caravans coursing through this particular route, and that there is an officer guy who is definitely brainwashed, who has this like tree sap in their body, and if we can capture them, we might be able to develop an antidote. Oh, no, you can't get out.
Actually, this is also adhesive.
Oh, that's so weird.
Man, this story of
Anyway,
yours is going places, meeting people, huh?
yeah. So I ask the wizard gnome to use his familiar, which is an owl, to fly over the not mountain range, but like a gorge through which the caravans go and such, and to look for this particular guy because he's very like distinct. He's a Goliath, so he looks in a very particular manner. And so we find them, and he warns us in advance, and we stage a little trap, and I use survival to basically dig out little hidey holes in the snow, cover them up with trees, and put some snow in them. So from the road, they basically look like it's just a small pile of snow. So we found a defensible position and all that. Oh, that is a nasty. That is a nasty puzzle. Holy shit. Right. So we stage this attack, and everybody's hiding there. They don't see him, and I say, your cue to jump out is a fireball. And so these guys are traveling on the road, and I asked our rogue to put a bear trap right in the middle of it, make it really obvious, and then put a couple more on the sides, but hide those. And so this caravan comes up to a really obvious bear trap, and the dude says, let's just go around it, and immediately steps into it.
Oh, poor guy.
I know, but I tricked him. And as that happens, I cast a fireball from the tree line. And the fireball explodes, and all of our fighters pop out of their little hidey holes, and they slaughter the caravan guards, and they beat the shit out of the Goliath. Well, almost beat the shit out of the Goliath, because he apparently still has a whole lot of hit points. So they fight him. He basically throws them around a little bit because, well, it's one of those, oh, it's supposed to be a boss, so he's going to be really overpowered, but he's not going to be using all his power, blah, blah, blah.
He's going to be tough
Whatever.
because of, not narrative reasons, but because drama.
Yeah, something like that. Like, he's a top lieutenant or whatever. It's a good, supposedly, design. So... Ooh, that's a nice trick. I like that. Oh, those are nasty. So we fight him. And I say we need to take him alive, but Barbarian is too enraged to listen. So I wait for the Barbarian to get decked in the fucking face. And then I cast Hold Person on the guy. And somehow he actually fails that.
Well, if he's a fighter, he
Yeah,
won't be resistant to it.
Yeah, well, it's not even like for a narrative purpose. He just straight up fails the public roll. And so he's being held, etc. And then I just basically command him to surrender. Just stand down. Grovel. And so he tries not to, but then like red veins pop up all over his face and everything, and then he does it. So we tie him up, and I say, yeah, this is suspicious as fuck, we shouldn't be doing that. So we tie him up, lead him to the little cottage in the mountains, and then I report to the tiefling lady. It's like, hey, this happened. And she said, oh shit. Apparently the sap is sapient, and so the
Gross.
sap forced him to fail the save so we could find out who's the traitor.
Gross!
And we led, basically, now the villain knows who's the betrayer, etc., etc. So, you know, now we know that the lady cannot go back. So they're on our side as much as they would. Be. So we test the antidote, and it actually works. It actually expels forcefully the sap from the person, and it acts as a little blob, or like ooze, I guess. And it is its own little creature, and I had to burn it. Anyway, that's where I got the idea that the thing is actually sapient. It's not just people like being made more susceptible to persuasion or something, but like it's an actual entity that does things. How are you supposed to?
I don't know, and it annoys me.
Yeah, this is stupid. So we've developed the antidote. We made the use of it later too. So anyway, after that there was like 2 weeks pause. And I said, look, this has been taking long enough. I want to do something. Can we go and scout that little fortress of theirs? And so we went and scouted the fortress. We mapped out a little bit of the cave system underneath it. Found like the weakest spot in the wall where we can basically just use stone shape to get through. So we stage an
Oh,
attack.
I see. I can hold down and go down. I have control over the grappling hook, which is... Thank you for explaining that to me, not.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, sounds like you're having a great time on Thursdays.
Yeah, we had great time. Now it's over, but it will resume this week. So anyway, we scouted that fortress out, and we discovered that there's at least 20 people inside, maybe more, plus service personnel. So attacking head-on would be really stupid. But they do get regularly little caravans. Ouch. Little caravans that bring in food and other resources. I said, hey, we're going to raise them as undead, send them in as a caravan that will just serve as a distraction while we go in and assassinate the big guy and burn down the tree. Which is what we did. We took the characters that have left the game, and we essentially put them on this like distraction team, and they were supposed to like fight at the entrance. Ouch. Which they did, along with the zombies and everything. And we were waiting at the bottom of, like at the bottom floor, in the underground, for the signal. And the ground shook, which sounded like a fireball.
Yes.
So we went in, we climbed into the office, burnt the tree, fought the guy. As he was dying, I stabbed him with a sword, and he lost his will save, wisdom save. He lost his connection, but he had some kind of gizmo implanted into his hand, like a magical stone that allowed him to cast some certain spells.
Fancy.
Yeah, and he had a special ability. I've sent you the little character sheet for that because DM shared it after the game. He, once he reaches 0 hit points, he teleports the party into the future from which he came, and he says, well, in this future, all the gods are dead. And I'm trying to prevent this, and like the whole world is being destroyed by these weird creatures from a parallel dimension or something. I'm not entirely sure how that works.
Oh, cool. Because you just can't have a plot that's not the world, huh?
Yeah, supposedly. So we fought the guy basically on a pile of magical ash.
God.
What?
I'm gonna look at. Listen, once I'm done with this level, I'm gonna take a quick break so I can go and pick up that package that is apparently at the neighbor's house. Because that's now on my brain, and I don't need that. I don't need any of this right now. I'm not even expecting any packages. What the fuck did I get?
You sure you want to go and pick it up then?
Well, they just bother me about it, so.
Well, if it was like something like, oh, you know, it's a bomb or something, it probably would have gone off.
If it's a bomb, I would very much enjoy that right about now.
I know.
It's nice and fast.
My story boring?
No.
Is it that boring?
No, that's not what I'm talking about, Argus.
Fine. Oh, anyway, before you go, I want to finish it. We fight this guy again, and he does the most amusing thing ever. He has resistance to fire, so he casts fireball on himself. Like twice. I'm with 2 hit points. I just drink invisibility potion that has been hanging in my inventory for like a couple sessions at least. Go invisible. And this guy says, starts monologuing and everything. The rest of the party actually, you know, lowers their weapons, like a bunch of idiots. So he keeps talking. It's like, oh, you know, look around you. This is the world that you're trying to that I'm trying to prevent, and you're getting in the way. You're blah 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 blah. He keeps spilling his guts, and he says, well, "Are you with me?" And the party actually fucking says, "Yeah, you know what? You're making a good point. Maybe we should be with you." And so I come out of invisibility. I stab him for the chest with a sword, bite his throat out because I'm not about that sort of nonsense. And we get flung into our time because he warned us actually, you know, oh, if you die here, if I die here, you're gonna be forever stuck here. And it's like, I don't care. I came here to kill you because you fucked up with my people. I'm gonna kill you regardless of what's gonna happen. And we get flung into the past, supposedly to where we were, and his corpse disappears because apparently it stayed in the time that he's from. And after that, the party went their separate ways. I found the corpse of one of my other shamans, and I made it all out of that. I have a little minion follower. And I found the stockpiles of the sap.
Ooh.
And I talked to the sap. And it turns out it's a true neutral entity that came to be through sheer accident. Basically, some kind of magical fallout happened in an island dedicated to magical research, and it just suddenly became self-aware. So it's a tree that became a thing, and because of its innate properties, like basically controlling people, he was used by these people. They said, "Hey, we will burn you to the ground unless you do this." And it's like, well, my purpose is survival. Might as well. And so made it the same offer. It's like, I will ensure your continued survival if you help me. And so now that Argus has a little plant growing in their brain.
I'm gonna go and take care of that thing. I'll be back in like 10 minutes.
Sure, I'll be here.
The moon has a
Yeah,
level.
yeah,
It's probably the last level, like the bonus level for getting everything.
probably. Sounds funky. So the only moons that we've seen before were actual like planets or um little like chunks floating in space.
The moon!
Gonna break a whole moon apart.
I kind of want to play Fantasy after watching Diener play it, but the downside is I just watched that game, so it's still fresh in my memory.
Not when you're about 70 years old, it will be easier to forget things.
I mean, I have the same problem with Outer Wilds. I really want to play that game, but I want to experience it at least somewhat fresh, you know.
Yeah, and fucking Flint just stole everything from it.
I just stole a lot from it, not everything.
Well, I mean, you made it sound like 90% of it was like borrowed.
Well, a lot of the Nomai stuff and the planets and all, definitely.
Like the three-eyed aliens.
Like the Nomai and the Bramble.
Rumble was like my favorite thing. It's supposed to be like this passable thing that you only visit once, and then I just kept coming back there, so they had to develop things for it. It was pretty neat. Apparently, there's a whole entire civilization living there.
What?
Or at least there used to be one. Idiot about it.
To be fair, I 100%ed this game back in my younger years, so the fact that I've forgotten everything should indicate the time frame it takes for me to forget a game, which is usually like a couple of years. My memory is not that great. I mean, it's surprisingly good in some places, surprisingly shit in others.
Yeah, it's the same for me. When I hyper focus on something, I remember pretty much everything. Like the fucking Metro games, I know them back to back. Heart. Oh, Venka Prime Blueprint.
Fenka.
Yes.
Honka donka, Fenka genka.
Yes.
Dang, that explosion still hurt me.
Why wouldn't they?
Because it's so far away. I bludgeon a man to death with a bomb.
That's good. That's how you do it.
Argus likes this.
Man, I'm excited about having a chance to actually have like a giant undead bird that I can fly on. I can't imagine it's like the party sleeping and somebody sneaking on it, and they just look up and there's like this bird just sitting on a tree branch, but because it's so giant, it's so heavy, it kind of just leans almost to the ground.
I mean, large is like the size of a horse, so yes.
Yes.
So everyone,
bird.
I personally like the mental image because at some point you guys might be able to get those giant eagles I mentioned earlier, before you joined up with the other guys.
Mhm.
And I personally really like the mental image of fucking Argus being like, can I get one in the undead the undead variety?
Well, I mean, if I get one, I'll get one. I'm just saying, if I'm gonna have to make one, I'll make one. Its little eyes looking at you, and your robot is looking at it. It's funny. Angry eyes. Look at this. Oh no. Oh my God! Look at this dumbass.
I'm popping a wheelie here.
This is so fun. I like how it's actually like looking at you. It's silly. Oh, so now it goes through walls.
Yeah.
You can rotate that thing. Yeah. Oh, now you have to go back.
Why did that? Why does? I thought that was like a double-armed spinny thing. You know. The usual visual language.
Yeah. Dang. I think you can move that cup down because all U-shaped things are movable, or at least they were before. You just toss him into lava. You're gone.
Just a baby, Claire.
Is there a non-baby version of Claire, by the way?
No idea. I do know one thing. God! Why is the checkpoint up there just to taunt me? Just to be like, oh, there's a checkpoint right here, bucko.
Close.
All you gotta do is get up here first. You're so close.
Try moving that Y-shaped thingy. I think it can be moved.
I love having to deal with these motherfucking assholes before I get to go to the part that...
It just takes away like half of your hit points. It's fucking stupid.
It takes away 4 sometimes. Like, the explosion is so inconsistent.
It's ridiculous.
Like, you can really tell this is an old game with old philosophies.
Yes. The way I walk, I'm a woman's man. No time to talk. Uh-oh. Ooh. That was scary.
No time to talk.
Always having a depressive episode because they can't play D&D because they don't fit. Because they keep making characters that don't want to be in parties.
What? Who? Where? What?
They
Why?
can't disconnect them. Baba. Baba cannot is struggling with an ability to separate the character from themselves. They keep making a character that is dumb.
No. Did I struggle to make a character?
Something that happened.
You know, the fucking core foundation of role-playing games? Cool! I get to go all the fucking way back! Because one-tile jumps are so fucking nice.
Can you cheat?
I wish. Get to do this. I get to do this. Ooh, so exciting. Almost get hit by a bomb. See, that almost works, and I hate it.
But yeah, I have talked to multiple DMs about this, and they basically pretty much said it's like had players like this who can't really separate themselves or the character from the player who's playing it, right? Including themselves. They're just struggling to play the game. They think, oh, why would my character go there instead of
Here's
what would make my character.
Here's a good tip. Don't let those people make their own goddamn character.
Yeah.
If you make their character for them, they can't have that problem because it's like, oh, this is who you are.
Yes.
Look at that damage. Real nice last level there, buckos. But yeah, like, for those people, just make their character for them. Don't give them the chance. Make it for them. Make them a weird character, so that the mental disconnect is as strong as possible.
Yes. Actually, let me read out some of this.
Go ahead. Read me out. Do 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 do.
So they've been trying to do like a 3D little model for a kobold, and they said, how can I make a kobold game with no kobold? I can't make a kobold game if I can't make a model. And it's like, it looks fine. Like, I mean, it's a little crude and everything, but it's fine. You just, you know, put in a little bit of extra time, maybe it will work out. But it's like they're having the same problem that I have with my own art. It's like it's not immediately competent, therefore it sucks. Right. And so they had some whiskey and I'm a little woozy and blah blah blah. And they said, I'm just sad. I can't run a game because my brain is broken. I can't do art without it being fly and not in a good way. Without it being ugly, excuse me.
No.
Yeah, but you want to make monsters. I don't want to make monsters. But you want sexy monsters. I don't want to roleplay, but I want to do something all I do is complain. Oh, you want to make kobolds, so just make kobolds. Yeah, but I can't, which is now, can't type either. And I said, well, I can't do monsters either. That's why I occasionally just save up a little bit of money and then pay somebody to do it for me. And he says, you can, you just make it all lumpy. And all deformed, and tentacles everywhere, and draw some dicks to profit. So yeah, they're struggling with the whole roleplay aspect. They want to make a character, but they don't want to roleplay. They want to play tabletop, but they don't want to do like housekeeping and number crunching.
Again, there are games for that, like Fate.
I know, or
Cypher.
Delta Green, because they've been having fun in Delta Green and like Paranoia. Those are really fun. But they keep making the one crazy insane character. We drove our DM for Delta Green insane. Because we just ended up making roughly the same character, just falling into the same kind of tropes. He is batshit insane, and I am just a straight man foil to his insane, batshit insane character. We show up to this guy, and it's like our D&D cleric is fucking gone from our party. We're looking for a missing person, basically. And we go to investigate, and it turns out they got roped into the whole like cult thing because they were researching their genealogy thing. They're all descendants of one specific dude
Scary.
who has been living for like 500,000 years or something. And they were feeding people to a tree in the backyard in exchange for like record profits and record harvests. But anyway, we get roped
And
into
it's like,
that
why
and
don't you
save
just
the
buy a
lady.
fucking tractor, man?
I know, right? And so we go in there looking for the thing, and then we eavesdrop on the guys, and they're saying, "Oh, you know, these intruders, they think we're stupid, and that we don't realize that they're here for that lady. Might as well just feed them to the tree. Might as well. It's like with bolts and strings. It's like they're literally nobody's gonna care about them." And so they walk over to our room, and we sneak out for the window.
Give me a moment. I'm gonna break the video here. Okay, continue.
Right, and so we basically came to this farm and we said, hey, we're just, you know, we just want to get away from the town live for a little bit. Do you have any work for us? Blah 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 blah. And they say, yeah, sure, fair enough. Here's the room. Stay in there. And they lock the door. And then we look out of the window and they basically feeding like a pig to a tree, and they're saying, oh, you know, we need to feed someone like a living person soon, and these two idiots are basically nobodies, so we might as well just do them. And they send the dude to go and grab us. So the dude goes, and we try to sneak through a window, but we can't in time. This fucker walks in, he starts talking, and my body just fucking kicks him in the face, and then I throw him against the bed, and he hits his head, and his head just pops, and his like blood goop just comes out of there. I'm like, ugh. So we sneak out, find like a little shotgun over the fireplace with like a box of ammo and everything. And so we try to sneak through the field to where our car was parked, in a barn. And as we do that, they spot us, and we run through the field from basically monsters made out of blood goop. And so I'm trying to break the chains on the thing, and my buddy's like, he's standing in the field. He's like, "Don't approach, I'll shoot." And they start laughing, and they start approaching. And so he shoots one, and he like basically splits into like look at blue, not blue, black goop everywhere. It spills out. It's gross. It's fucking crazy. So they start rushing us. He turns, fucking shoots the lockout. We run in, close the doors, start looking for the car keys and everything. And then we find out our cleric, who was supposed to be there, but she's like chained to the wall in the corner because they wanted to sacrifice her too because she's like incomplete or something. I don't know. It was weird. So we light the whole barn on fire, and we just speed through the gate, and we just plow through like a group of people, and it's like the whole car is now covered in goop that are trying to kill us. It was great. Yeah, and we get roped into like this Delta Green organization thing after we get out. The girl is missing both hands because she turned into a monster inside our car and tried to kill us.
So,
after we get out of the hospital, we go to the office of this guy, our handler, and he straight up just takes out like a bag of cocaine, makes lines, just snorts them. And my buddy's like, "That's illegal." And I look at him, it's like, "It's a free country." And the DM just loses it and starts laughing for like 5 minutes straight, and then gives me a point of inspiration.
anyway,
Because I was playing like an immigrant. Anyway, yeah, sure.
game's
Go
over.
ahead.
Yeah.
It turns out the moon was not a bonus level as you think. It's just like the sequel bait.
Oh, sequel bait. That's a shame.
I like this game. It was fun to revisit it. Last level is just a little too garbage for what it needs to be. A little too harsh, that last level.
Yeah, they put the difficulty up a little too much. They really
One
suck.
tile jumps for quite a while. But otherwise, I liked it. Beep's cute. What a fun little game. It's 4 short of 100, which is why I thought there would be a bonus level.
Yes. Oh, well, sequel. Did the sequel actually come out?
Let's figure that out, but it's not going to be in the YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll probably be in the description. Don't worry about it.